Alright, so these right here are citrus cheesecake desserts. I've got my lime, my orange, and my lemon. 3 different recipes, all with distinct citrus flavors. And today, I'm going to show you how to make your own. Alright, so let's get started. Now remember, we're making 3 separate desserts. They're all pretty simple, and they all start with the same crust. The crust is going to be made out of walnuts. These are organic walnuts. These are my favorite nuts to use. You could use any nut variety that you prefer, but walnuts are the healthiest in my opinion, so they're what I typically use. To go with it, I'm going to use some dates, which of course is my preferred sweetener, and I'm going to use some vanilla. These 3 things are what's going to make our crust. Let's put it together.
If you've been watching my videos, you know that this is my go-to raw crust. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't break it.
Alright, so for those of you who have never seen me make a raw pie crust, I always like to show what it should look like after the nuts are blended. So if you look here, I blended them really well. But when you take it and pick it up and squeeze, it holds together. And that's what you want, okay? So now let's get our raw crust ready for our 3 different desserts. Alright, so the first crust that we're going to do is for our lemon bars. And we're going to make these in this pan. Now, this is parchment paper, and typically I use parchment paper when I want to layer something and protect it from a surface that I'm using, like when I'm cooking. Now, we're not going to be cooking these bars, but what the parchment paper does is it makes it easier. Once we put it in the refrigerator and everything sets and we want to take it out and cut it, this makes it easier to remove it out of the pan so that it can be cut, instead of struggling to try to get around it and get them out nice and even and without breaking them. So this makes it easy. Now let's get our crust on top here.
So if you want to reduce calories, you can make a thinner crust. If you're not concerned with that, then you can make it thick. Either way, you want to pack them in tight once they're in the pan.
Alright, so now we've got the crust for our bars done. Now I'm going to do the crust for our cupcakes.
Silicone is not one of my favorite surfaces to cook on, but since these will be chilled in the fridge and not cooked, I don't have that concern here.
Okay, and so the last crust is going to be for our cups. Same process. I'm just going to get our nut crumbs in here.
If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe below.
Alright, so now we have all 3 of our crusts done. We've got our crust for our bars, for our cupcakes, and for our cups. And if you notice, I didn't press the nuts in the cups as compactly and firmly as I did these 2. And that's because these I don't have to take out. We're just going to eat our dessert right out of the cup. So no need to be pressing and over pressing it, so they're in there a little looser than these 2 are. Alright, let's go to the next step. Alright, so the first dessert we're going to make are our orange cheesecake cups. And here are the ingredients we're going to need. I've got some cashews that I've soaked here, organic cashews. I've got some vanilla, I got some dates, and then I've got an orange. And the first part of this is to juice our orange. That's what I'm going to do next.
So no store-bought orange juice here. We're going to use the real thing. And we're going to add some orange zest to make it extra flavorful.
Okay, so I've got my orange juiced and I've got it zested. The next step is to get our filling done. That starts with cashews.
So as I'm sure you gather, this is a high-calorie, high-fat dessert. So for those of you who are watching one or both, portion control is a must. However, keep in mind that compared to a regular dessert, this is still a much healthier option.
Okay, so now I've got my filling made. I just gave it a taste, has a really nice orange flavor. I want you to see the consistency of it. It's nice and thick, but still creamy. But we're gonna put it in the freezer, and while it's in the freezer, we'll set up and get nice and firm, like a little cheesecake.
Okay, so dessert number 1 is almost done. And as you can see, like most of my recipes, it's not very complicated. Making these cups is actually pretty easy.
Alright, I got them all smoothed out. Now it's time to put them in the freezer so they can get set. Alright, so it's time for dessert number 2. We're going to make some lemon squares, and here are the ingredients we're going to use. We're going to start with some organic soaked cashews again, some organic plant milk. I use walnut, but you can use any plant milk you like, some vanilla, some dates, and of course a lemon. Let's get started.
Okay, so making the crust is going to be identical to the first recipe, so no need to show you that. And this is really similar too. We're going to add our cashews, our date, and instead of orange, of course, we're going to use lemon.
Alright, so now I've got my lemon filling all mixed up, and it's the same consistency as the last time with the orange. Now we're going to pour it into our pan here.
So putting on the icing is a fun part, and if you have kids and they happen to be watching, this is a great time to get them involved and let them feel helpful.
All right, so now I've got the filling all smoothed out, and now this one's ready for the freezer also. We'll put it in and let it get set. Okay, so now for our last dessert, we're gonna do lime cheesecake cups, and all the ingredients are gonna be the same as a lemon. The only difference, we're using lime. Let's get to it.
Same process as the first two. For those of you who have never had a lime flavored dessert, I suggest you start with this one. It is so good.
So now I have my frosting blended up from my lime cheesecake cups. Only thing left to do here is to put them in our little cups here and then get them in the freezer.
Dessert number 3 is just about done. And again, if you have kids, this would be a great place for them to jump in and give you some help. It's that easy.
So we got all 3 desserts done. They're in the freezer setting up. Now, when you're making simple desserts like this, you can keep it simple. But say you were doing one of these desserts, the cups in particular, and you're having company or you just wanted to step it up a notch, one thing you could do is add some dehydrated fruit. So earlier, I took some orange, some lemon, and some lime, and I cut them into slices and I put them in my dehydrator, and I dehydrated them. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a nice little touch to these desserts once they're set and ready by putting these on top and just making the presentation a little better. Again, you can keep it simple, but if you want it, if you're having company, or you just want to step it up a notch, this is one of the things that you could do. All right, so we're gonna start with our lemon dessert first. I'm gonna take it out and get it cut. And as you can see, the parchment paper helps to make that easy to remove, just as I was talking about earlier. And now we got it perfect position.
Okay, so now it's time to get our bars cut. And one hint I'd like to give you here is that when you're cutting these bars, make sure to have a paper towel handy. And after each cut, you want to clean your knife. If not, the frosting is going to accumulate on a knife and it's going to make your bars look kind of messy and uneven. But other than that, it's just a matter of picking out your best looking dehydrated fruit pieces and then topping each dessert. And just like that.
All right, so we got all 3 of our desserts done now. We've got our lime, we've got our orange, and we got our lemon. Pretty much the same recipe, but the different flavors gives each one its own personality. I can't wait to try all 3 for you, of course. All right, and the lime. Very strong lime flavor, and you know, the lime that I juiced was quite a bit juicier than the lemon, and you can taste it here. The lime flavor is really strong in a good way. It's very good. And the orange. What can I say? I love all 3 flavors. Lemon, lime, orange. All great. All 3 are very good. I gotta say that the lime is my favorite. Of the 3, the lime is my favorite. Lemon and orange are good too, but the lime is the best. You may feel differently. So make whatever is your favorite flavor. But either way, I think you're gonna enjoy these. Absolutely delicious. So I've had a lot of people write me and ask me how to find the recipes to the cooking show videos like the one you just watched. If you're having trouble finding the recipe, look below the video for the word more. Tap on the word more and you'll see the beginning of the recipe. Tap on the word more again and the full recipe will appear, and then you can begin to make your own. Thanks for watching.